Hey there, Wall Street winners. It is Tuesday, June the 11th, and I'm going to call today a bit of a blah day. And the reason for that is traders and investors appear to be kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting for two data points tomorrow: CPE data, consumer price index data, or CPI data, consumer price index data, and the Federal Reserve rate decision, both of which I think we kind of know where they're going right now. So I'm not sure why we're waiting other than for some kind of amazing surprise. But what that's doing to the markets is everything's pulled back a little bit. It's not significant. You can see that the three US indices at the top here in the Bloomberg app under markets and futures are all in the red going into the open. It's 8:45, so we're 45 minutes from the open. We do have some things happening this week. The one thing I wanted to point out here in the Yahoo Finance app is I'm at the bottom of my portfolio list. So I've scrolled to the bottom, and what you'll notice in the utilities area is there's an event calendar. My dog's really excited about the event calendar. If you go into the event calendar, what you'll see is a listing of stocks set to be reporting and their reporting date. So you can see that today, after market, Oracle is going to report, and my dog loves databases, so he's pretty excited about Oracle coming out with their news and earnings announcement this afternoon. Dollarama, doll.to, that's on the TSX, the Toronto stock market, anything with .to. Dollarama is reporting before market tomorrow, so obviously we'll call it value-oriented retailer with low-cost items. Broadcom comes out after market tomorrow, and then Adobe after market on Thursday. And then one other Canadian, but also U.S. retailer based on their locations, ATD. It's coming out after market on Tuesday the 25th next week. Then we have Nike earnings. I think Nike earnings will be interesting. I'd be looking to maybe pick up some Nike prior to their earnings next Thursday. And then July 11th, quite a ways out, we have CCA. This has been definitely the worst performing stock in my portfolio for multiple years. I should have dumped this a long time ago. Management is inept in this company and is keeping the share price increasingly below its ultimate value. They're doing nothing strategic, in my opinion, to help this company, and they should, for the most part, all be let go. But that's a whole other conversation. So what are we looking at today? Well, if we go back to our home screen and we scroll up, let's start with financials because they're at the bottom, and we'll move our way to the top. Financials getting hit a little bit here, all for the most part in the red in the pre-market. And the primary reason for this is we're waiting to see what the Fed does. And for the financials, I think a higher for longer story isn't a bad story. They're set to do pretty well with higher for longer. The one exception here is maybe your regional banks. Regional banks carrying more of the commercial loan risk for commercial mortgages and commercial properties. And the office sector has been particularly hard hit after COVID. So that's a big risk. But I think if you're a smart bank, like the larger banks tend to be, you've packaged these loans up and you've sold them off in tranches so that you've diversified your risk. So if the smaller banks haven't done that, they're just kind of stupid and they deserve to die because stupid things really don't deserve to live and certainly don't deserve to grow. So you have to undo your mistakes and be willing to do that. Scrolling up into tech, we've got Adobe, as I mentioned earlier, announcing Thursday. You've got Google up a little bit. Google's been down, whereas the rest of the tech market has been up recently. So I'd be interested to see how Google opens. I think it's going to come back down into the 175 range and then probably pop back up into the 176 range. It seems to have a bit of a $2 swing on it throughout the day. If we look at the 5-day here, yesterday it got down into the 175 173s and closed in the 176 range. So it was quite a good little play to get in early yesterday and then exit throughout the day and then come back in at different points. That was one of my strategies for yesterday. NVIDIA has been, obviously, it's a rocket ship, and with its stock split of a 10-to-1, it's now trading under $122. If this thing, like it did yesterday, moves down into the 119, 118 range, I think it would be a fabulous acquisition for ongoing success. I think it's going to continue its trajectory forward. Obviously, there's going to be a pullback at some point, but it is clearly the market leader out there in AI, and it doesn't look like it has a great deal of strong competition for the next at least 2 years in the semiconductor space. Meta had a great day yesterday. That's your Facebook stock, down $2 in the pre-market. I probably wouldn't buy it at $4.99 or $500, but if it dropped to the low 490s, I would definitely pick up more of that, or even lower, I would pick up more of that. AMD, bad news here. Again, just competing with the news and the media, the narrative around NVIDIA, and not really being able to address the same AI market. It was off yesterday. It's up a little, but it's probably going to be off again today. ARM Holdings is just following NVIDIA's coattails, really riding the coattails. In my opinion, this stock is way overpriced in the 130s. It's almost 140, so completely overpriced. But it is one that if you've bought it a few months ago, you have done extremely well on this. We see that as we scroll up, PanW is back up in the 300s, almost at the 310 range. CRM's climbing back a little bit into the 240s. And Apple's been hit hard. They've got their developer conference on this week, and they really haven't had a huge AI announcement that has benefited the company. I mean, obviously, they've had AI announcements, but nothing has really come out and propelled the interest in that to take the stock to new highs. If we scroll up to oil, I am still a fan of oil. I do believe that oil today will get back above $78 a barrel for crude futures that we're looking at here. And if it does, I think what we're going to see is some forward momentum in the oil stocks. Valero has been down in comparison to some of its peers recently. I picked up some Valero in the 152, 153 range yesterday, sold some, held some other, and I think that looking at the pre-market, if it opens up $1.20, that's going to be a good start to the day. But this is a stock that should be up at $57, $58 by the end of this week, in my opinion. If we continue on upwards into transports, I mentioned JB Hunt. It was a great acquisition. If we look at the 5-day here, great acquisition in the high 150s, and it has turned out to be the case. In fact, yesterday here it dipped down. It was 158 and change, and it came up to 162, and my goal was to sell it at 161 and change. So that was a great bet. I would not say that at 162 it's a strong buy. I think that if you look at the chart, I think you're going to see that it's going to pull back again. It's clearly near its resistance level that it reached here in the 162.62 range on June 4th. I think it'll pull back somewhere into the 158, 159 range before it makes a move upwards again and gets back to, say, a 164 level. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Humana making a bit of, didn't make a recovery yesterday, but slowly making a recovery. I mean, if you look at the 1-month chart here, it's definitely climbing up from its lows in the 330s and climbing back to probably where it's going to land in the 380 range by its next earnings announcement. Your other retailers, for the most part, in the green. Nike in the red at 96. I had some March options on Nike for $95. Bought them when the stock was down at 90, now at 96. It did incredibly well. If you see a pullback here to, well, right now it could open in the 95s at 95.60. I would definitely look at a March 25 option at $95. And I think that when we see earnings next week, this could pop up to $100, and that could make for about a 20% gain, I would anticipate, in that option. So that's where we are right now as we head into trading in about 36 minutes today. Good luck with your trades. If you're liking these videos like my dog does, please subscribe to the channel and